Ok, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Hop, voilà. Alors ça, je décale là et je mets la scène Kenshin. Ok. Hop là. Parfait. Boutique, qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Ah. Ok. Moi je me suis dit que j'allais pull Furina. Parce que... elle a l'air pas mal. Puis elle fit très bien dans mon équipe. Est-ce que je baisserai pas encore un petit peu la musique? J'ai mis à jour mes alertes. Attendez, je vais essayer. Modifier. Si je fais envoyer l'alerte test. Ouais, ça le fait. C'est peut-être un peu petit, non? Si genre par exemple là, celui-là. Ouais, c'est un peu petit. J'avais fait mes tests hors stream. Et du coup, je pouvais pas voir comment que ça rendait en stream. Je vais essayer de les... Ouais, c'est peut-être un peu gros. Je sais pas. Je vais essayer de le centrer à peu près. 541, 542. Bon, je pourrais pas faire mieux. Du coup, si je relance un test... Ouais, c'est un peu mieux. Et tout est violet. Les couleurs. Je peux peut-être les changer, non? Ah oui, je peux changer. Ok. Bon, faudra que je regarde à ça. J'ai encore des tests à faire et tout. Mais moi, je suis content, ça marche. Alors, c'est les alertes de base de Twitch. J'ai pas su remettre les miennes. Parce que je les ai créées avec Streamlabs. C'était un pack gratuit de Streamlabs. Et... ouais. Du coup, j'ai pas pu. J'ai pas pu le récupérer. Bon, il s'est passé plein de trucs. Tout récup. Voilà. Communauté. Ouais. Oh, reviens-moi là-dessus. Voilà. Oh, fuck. Oh, c'est quoi ça? Réunion stellaire, chemin du retour. Ah, ça fait longtemps que j'ai pas joué. D'accord. Il y a les quêtes d'histoire, ok. Lien du retour. Ok. Il y a plusieurs trucs. Ah non, d'accord, c'est ça. Ok. Oh, ouais, c'est cool. Oh, tais-toi. Et pourquoi ça me remet ça? Attendez, j'ai un petit problème avec mon OBS. Ouais, je m'en fous.
Many times can appreciate its true qualities.
Ah, c'est peut-être ça le problème.
Take your pick. You'll find no second-rate items at Wagner's.
I only wish life could be as leisurely as this a little more often. How greedy of me.
C'est quoi le problème? Bon. Essayons de poule. Donc, normalement, historique, j'ai quand même une petite pitié. J'ai 27. Donc je devrais pas user trop de vœux, je pense. Bon, 4 étoiles. Ok, allô, je l'ai pas. Et collé. Ok, j'ai eu 2 4 étoiles. Ok, toujours pas. Du coup, j'ai dit combien? 27. Je suis à 37. Charlotte, le nouveau personnage. Ok, bon, c'est cool aussi. Toujours 4 étoiles. Oh, cette arme de merde. Toujours 4 étoiles. Bédou. Super. Oh ouais. J'ai pas de chance. Du coup, je suis à combien? Je ne sais plus. Ah, la voilà. Normalement, j'ai chance garantie. Let's go. Bon, il y a des gens qui ont de la chance et qui ont 2 Furinos dans la même poule. Moi, j'aurais jamais cette chance-là. Hop. Je vais faire ces petits vœux-là. Ok, bah merci. En plus, c'est une bonne lance, je crois. Mais bon. Je n'ai aucun perso qui a joué Paul Arm. Enfin, Paul Arm. Lance. Ah, je crois pas ton pseudo. Ah, salut xAurelien. Noël. Ok. Faire 50 vœux. Bah ça va bien et toi? Donc Noël. Constellation. Bédou. Constellation. Collé. Constellation. Furina. Elle et elle. Ok. Je sais pas ce qu'il faut. Ah d'accord, faut ça. Je ne sais même pas où est-ce qu'on les chope. voulais les mettre niveau 20 pour avoir les tickets. Enfin les tickets, les orbes.
Oh, what a strange and wonderful feel.
Je pensais que c'était une healeuse, elle. Dans la nouvelle zone? Bon, il va falloir que j'explore quand même. Ça fait un moment que j'ai pas rejoué. Bah j'ai joué au début de la 4.1. Hop.
That's the
Bon. Je pense que Furina ira très bien ici. Hmm. En vrai, je pense que je vais commencer par la quête principale. Et découvrir un peu. J'aurais pu déjà me TP. Parce que je vais me TP, ça a changé là. Alors c'est... Ok, il y a tout ça de nouveau. Ici. Ouais, ça va, 4 heures. On va voir si c'est encore beaucoup de blabla ou s'il y aura quand même un peu d'action. Oh, faut que j'aille où? C'est à ce niveau-là. Et du coup, c'est quoi? C'est... Ah, c'est ça. Ok. Hop.
Now for a little rest after breakfast. Wait a sec. Isn't something important supposed to happen today? Oh, today's our big day! We're supposed to leave the Fortress of Mirapede! Come on! We've got to go complete the release procedures now!
Ok, mascarade découpable. Parler à la réceptionniste.
Please, sign here. This document will be effective immediately upon signing, and you two may exit the Fortress of Mirapede.
It's been so long since we've been to the surface. Let's hurry. Huh?
Oh.
What's happening? I'm fine, thanks.
Tiens, allons demander au duc.
Your Grace?
Ah, good to see you two. Is there something you would...
Yeah, what was with that earthquake just now?
Ah, that. The tremor didn't originate from the seafloor. And over the years of serving as the warden here, I've developed a sense for distinguishing between what occurs on the surface and what occurs underwater.
So the fortress is okay?
If you recall our last incident, if there really were a problem, there would be crowds of inmates in a panic.
Huh, you've got a point. Okay, by the way...
I believe today is this month.
Wait, seriously?
Ah, yes. Have you
Yep. It's you two. Are you leaving now? That's right! Today is our last day in prison! But now that Paimon says that, it doesn't feel like... Oh yeah, Paimon feels... Well, then be sure to come back and visit. I'll miss you.
If you've signed the release papers, then you're free to go. The guards will escort you.
You're not going to see us off?
I knew you'd ask. All right, sure.
Well, you actually agreed.
Ah, so you do have a
After being down here for so long, I imagine you must feel like you're lacking companionship. Shall I come along too? Yeah, don't worry, we'll come back to see you.
I hope you won't be here as convicts the next time I see you.
We'll do our best to stay out. Well, it seems our work in the Fortress of Mirapede is finished. We should probably go report to him now. You're going to see
Oui, enfin après on a été emprisonné parce qu'on a mangé un gâteau.
Please pass on our kind regards.
I'm
Donc
sure
bon.
just your regards will do, no?
I believe it would be the polite...
You're right. I've heard the palais has been terribly busy these days. Tell...
Ok. Rendez-vous au palais machin bidule. Oui, c'est là qu'il y a le bureau de Nouvellette. Ouais, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Pourquoi ça a tremblé ici? Rien n'a l'air d'avoir changé. Il y a du monde?
The Palais Mermonia sure is buzzing with activity today.
Halt! Huh? Oh, it's you two. Apologies. Excuse me. Would you mind helping me take a look at this report?
I'll be right there. Sorry, I've got my hands
I'll be right
full
there.
here.
Ah, des ailes.
Everyone's so busy. Seems a...
Hello. You've come at the right time, but you'll have to wait for just a moment. In the meantime, please, have a seat. If you'd like to have something to drink, let the Melusine outside know.
That's all right. We just ate.
Very well then.
Let's take a break over there while we wait for him to finish his work.
All right. That should wrap things up for now.
Are you done with your work?
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting. Today should be the day you were released from the Fortress of Mirapede. And it appears that you've managed to complete all the release paperwork.
That's right. And we came here to see you right away.
A massive whale.
Do you have any idea what that might...
Judging from your description, that cannot have occurred in any ordinary waters, but rather something like a whale of that size and shape cannot usually be found in the waters of Tevat. Therefore, we can only assume that child is presently immersed in primordial seawater.
Immersed in primordial seawater? But how? I just...
Most people wouldn't be capable of entering in the first place. I'm not completely sure how he... Yes? What is it?
Oh, right! Paimon felt... We asked the Duke and he said it wasn't from underwater, so we...
It turns out that I have just received a report about this particular matter. In fact, that's exactly what I was... The source of the tremor was here on the surface near Poisson. After the shaking stopped, the water levels...
The water levels rose? Oh no!
Fortunately, the water levels only rose for a short period of time, and have already returned to normal now. If the change in water levels is connected with the leaking primordial seawater, then the situation in Poisson may be much worse than it...
Navia should be in Poisson, right? We need to go check on her!
I would also like to go there as soon as possible, but I'm afraid I can't leave just yet. We must immediately formulate disaster prevention. I'll have to ask you two to go to Poisson first.
There's no time to lose! Let's get going!
Please be careful.
Ok. Allons voir Navia, au village Poisson. Donc c'est là. Ils ont vraiment donné des noms de merde. Ils ont vraiment voulu faire des trucs français, mais bon. Le village de Poisson.
Oh no! What happened here?
Bah, ça a pas l'air d'avoir trop bougé.
Navia should be around here, right?
Il y a quelqu'un là-haut.
We haven't seen a single soul all the way here.
What will I ever do now?
Look! There's someone on the...
Just stay put. We're coming up. Watch your balance.
All right. I'm not young anymore. How will I...
Oh, he looks pretty sad.
My leg! How could this have happened? It hurts!
Just hang in there. Help is on the way.
Ok. Ah, c'est Navia.
Oh, it's Navia. She's over there. Hey, Navia, are you okay?
You're here.
We heard there was a situation in Poisson, so we came as quickly as we could.
Yes. As you can see, the water level suddenly rose.
Demoiselle! There was a wounded resident next to a building southeast of here. We've already transported him to safety, but we've run out of...
He's wounded?
He fell, so it's probably a broken leg. He's pretty shaken up. When the water level rose, he desperately climbed up to the roof. Once the water receded and he saw the ground, he became
He jumped down then. Find the leader of Squad 1 and tell him to take the wounded resident to see a doctor. He should know where to go.
Understood. I'll take over.
All right. I'm sorry.
This...
Right. A little earlier, we suddenly heard a loud noise. At first, everyone thought that something might have exploded in the waterways. But the rushing water seemed a little odd, almost like the unique color of primordial seawater. Some people didn't realize the danger and thought it was just everyone on the street who happened to be close to the water didn't have a chance to escape. As the water levels rose, they suddenly disappeared. Those who realized what was happening started to flee in a panic, desperately trying to get to higher ground. Many were injured in the stampede, and some people... The Spina di Rosula initiated rescue operations as quickly as possible, but there have been a lot of casualties. Fortunately, the water that flooded the area contained primordial seawater, so the lower levels of Poisson are still hazardous. To ensure no one knows if this could happen again. All we can do for now.
How awful. And all of this just came out of nowhere.
It was quite frightening indeed. I only would...
Is there any way we can help, Navia?
Thank you for being so willing to help in a moment of crisis like this. You don't know...
Don't say that, Navia. That's what friends are for.
Demoiselle! We've got a situation here!
Sorry. I need to go for now.
And out she goes. Seems it might...
Okay. The wounded are being tended to, and we finished a preliminary head count. Of course, we should remain ready for anything, and continue doing our best to rescue others. Traveler, Paimon, would...
Huh? Right now?
Thank you.
On remonte. Comment je remonte? Ah oui, il y a de quoi dans le plan. Oula.
Take it easy.
Hop. Ok, parfait. Du coup, on est là.
Not a lot of people here, huh?
Well, given the time of day and the whole situation in Poisson,
Right. That's how things are now. The living...
Navia? Navia, what's wrong?
Sorry. I just... Malus and Silver. They won't ever come back here again. What?
Huh? What happened to them?
Everyone agreed on the rescue plan, but still... I was the one who initiated. They were helping evacuate the residents, but they couldn't leave, and...
What?
I've known them for so long. And I know they weren't afraid. I could at least hold a funeral for my father. And I know where he rests. But as for Malus and Silver, they're just...
Everything looks so clean after it rains. Even the gravestones. I didn't expect that you'd enjoy a glass of red wine in front.
I can understand. Besides,
See, it's not just me. I always want to bring something when I visit Papa.
How could Master ever be up? Yet the cemetery is the home of those who have passed. Is it
buying yourself a plot in advance, are you?
No need yet. But when I do, I hope you'll let me be buried beside Master Callus, Demoiselle.
Hey, stop.
I'm quite serious. That way, it will save us both the trip to see each other whenever you visit your father, Abe.
That makes sense. In that case, could I be buried on his...
After all, besides you, Demoiselle, the two of us could certainly...
Personally? I believe.
Why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Seriously.
But I'd really prefer not to talk about this stuff. And what do you mean by saving me a trip? I'd make the journey even if I had to visit you two somewhere else.
I'd promised to let them rest in peace here. I'm sorry for letting you see me in a mess like this.
Paimon doesn't know how to help you feel better. But
I had always thought I could make my wishes come true. But now that I think about it, that never solely Mise and Silver have helped me. I'm so sorry.
You can spend as much time as you need here, Navia.
Thank you. Right now, by the way, you can have a look at this.
Obena, Khan, Burnett, Javert, so everyone else is...
It's okay. I know what you're thinking. And you're right. We lost Mise and Silver. The overall outcome indicates that the cost was worth it.
Right! Don't think that way, Navia. One person might be... Mise and Silver were not the price for saving anyone.
You're right. What you said just now was pretty...
Oh!
Seems you've become more eloquent in the time since we last met.
The knave? What are you doing here?
Is everything going well?
Yes, my people are carrying out the mission according to your request. All the residents of Poisson have been evacuated. As for these supplies, we have everything taken care of. There is no need to worry.
Thank you very much.
Wait, do you two know each other?
We just met recently. Right, Miss Navia?
Usually, I would call this a coincidental encounter. But that doesn't quite fit this time. Besides, it never even crossed my mind that if it... Thanks to the Knave, Spina di Rosula received generous support from the Fatui, which allowed us to complete the rescue and evacuation work so quickly.
Mutual aid is essential to fostering positive developments. We were already in the area, in any case, so it was nothing. That said, I must say that you're a lot sharper than you let on. I'm sure you understand what I mean.
I apologize for all the ways in which I tested you previously. We've never worked with a Fatui before, and it's extremely important. My subordinates have reported that Fatui soldiers have been observing water levels and taking head counts in various locations. I hear that they've also prepared a large amount of emergency supplies.
This is nothing to brag about, nor do I intend to. It is simply the way of powerful organizations to act forcefully, whether they are doing good or ill. You've witnessed that. As I've told this traveler before, I know of the prophecy, and I intend to prevent the impending disaster. Lending your organization a hand was a natural first step in accomplishing that. As such, do not be troubled by this token of our sincerity. Perhaps one day...
Without your help, there would have been many more casualties.
Furthermore, I sincerely regret what happened to Mise and Silver. I only wish that my people could have arrived a little...
Don't say that. You and your subordinates did as Paimon said. Mise and Silver didn't choose to sacrifice themselves for any specific person. And they weren't the price paid for other salvation. They chose to... I've never liked hearing people put it that way. It's like trying to relieve pain by saying some noble-sounding words. But right now, there's nothing more suitable.
You're right. I'm sorry for your loss, Miss. Water is life to Fontaine's people, and it also spells disaster. It's no wonder that people always...
So, you're one who will...
Of course. That is why I'm going to Hotel Bouffe de Thé. I still have some things to take care of, and the children need my attention. By the way, traveler, Paimon, one more thing.
Alright, then we'll just...
That is a clever and useful conversation technique, which I do like to use when necessary. But there's no need today. Traveler, I'm sure you remember that I said we could work together when we had the... You and I both know that there may be issues with the Primordial Sea. Previously, it was the Fortress of Meripede's sluice gate, and this time it was the water levels in Poisson. These are both signals. Indeed. Allow me to share the latest intel I've received from the House of the Hearth's During some recent investigations, a child claimed to have discovered some ruins near Poisson. The ruins date back to ancient times, and seem to be worth investigating in many ways. Judging by the dating of the ruins, they may be related to the prophecy and the coming crisis. My people initially came to prepare for ruin exploration. Unexpectedly.
So that's why the Fatui were already in Poisson.
I wanted to take the children along, but unfortunately, Linny, Lynette, and Fremine have all been dispatched to higher ground. Linny told me that outside of the house, the person they trust most is you, which is why I want to give you this task. The House of the Hearth's members see each other as family, but Linny, Lynette, and Fremine said that they also see you as such. I'm sure you already understand how earnest they consider—
Oh! That's—
The intel I just shared about the ruins could fetch a high price. But since the children consider you family, it's only natural that I—
Got it! So all we gotta do is go to some ruins, right?
Excuse me, but may I tag along?
You wish to join, Miss Navia?
But are you sure you're up to exploring some ruins?
Well, I'm sad, yes. There's no point in being depressed while we still have a disaster. Besides, I'm also doing—
Since you put it that way, I have no all right. The ruins are to the south of Poisson.
Okay, the three of us will handle it. Come on.
Ok. Du coup, c'est par là. Oh non, pas vous. Non, vous m'avez pas vu. Oh, j'ai encore des hydroculus ici. Bah, je suis déjà passé ici pourtant. C'est qu'il est. Là, je suis dessus. Je le vois pas. C'est ce que je voulais faire. Hop. Là-bas, c'est sous mes roues. Et on voit la pyramide, le truc là. Le truc. Pourtant, j'ai dû explorer ici. Peut-être pas. J'ai un peu exploré, pas tant que ça. Là-bas, c'est la chambre de chat. Là-bas, c'est la montagne de dragon, du coup.
So, are these the ruins the knave was
They seem to be pretty ancient all—
Let's go in and have—
Just be careful.
Bon, de toute façon, j'ai pas mieux. Après, j'aurais peut-être pu prendre nomade pour l'exploration, il est vraiment bien. Oh.
Busted again. The night is cold. Stars.
Not now. Our bond is strong.
Ah oui, c'est vrai, dans les donjons, ça loot rien.
Watch it! The floor here isn't safe.
Busted.
Oh, non. J'ai peur de tomber et pas savoir remonter.
This place has also been contaminated by primordial seawater.
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontanian would most likely dissolve the moment they fell.
Right! You can't go down if there's primordial seawater. It's too dangerous and it won't be any help for you. Don't get by my wrong. We're not safe.
No, you're right. I can't do anything in this situation. I'll leave this to you. That complicates things.
In that case, do you want to wait for a...
The water levels here are unstable, and there's a chance the water will rise. I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit just...
All right.
Je pensais qu'il y avait un coffre, mais non.
Oh no, it's a dead end! Let's try climbing over from the side.
Hop. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Pourquoi ma vue est comme ça? Est-ce que ça te cassait la gueule?
There's something wrong with this bridge. Run for it.
Ok. Non. Mais non. Ça peut pas se terminer comme ça.
Demoiselle.
Huh?
Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself? Would you be standing here till dark?
Maybe she just wants some time to...
Oh.
Yes, it would appear.
That's quite possible. However, you were the one...
Oh, right. It must have slipped my mind when I dozed off. This is a familiar feeling.
Is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. I was just trying to recall...
Do you remember Mr. Giverny? He'd requested our help before.
We were headed to see how things were going.
Ah, right.
Oh, Miss Navia. Ah, Mr. Malus. And Mr. Silver, too.
How have you been?
I've been great. Thanks to your help, those bothersome merchants finally realized that I wasn't the one they were looking. They were knocking at my door day and night. Even my neighbor, Obina, was getting fed up with them.
Sometimes,
Mais c'est toutes les personnes disparues par l'eau. Primordial.
That's right.
Oui,
Oh, but
je reconnais les prénoms.
Miss Navia, these are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. I don't know what we would have done without your help, so this is a little token of our appreciation.
Ah, did you cultivate them yourself? Thank you so much. I'll certainly take them. Malus, we do still...
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants.
Very well.
Wait. Excuse me, madam. If I'm not...
That's right.
No, it's nothing. This is the first time we've ever met, but your name I've heard this name before. And why are there so few people around here?
We must mind the time, demoiselle. We still have important things to it.
Huh? We do?
Well, now...
Miss Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you. Please, come to the opera.
My trial?
Yes, she's right, demoiselle. It's just about time.
Oh?
Ok, bon bah c'est un film en fait.
look, it's Navia. She's here.
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to... Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. Why are so many people here? And as for the judge...
Please sit in the defendant's seat. Don't worry, Silver and I shall accompany you.
All right, but...
Typically, it wouldn't be allowed, but today...
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Come on. Do they have any idea what they're doing?
Enough with the whispering! Could someone...
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet realized what you've done? In that case, allow me to explain. As all here know, you are Master Callus's successor. The head of... After you took over the Spina, you treated all of us just like the late Master Callus had. Not only you, but your butler, your subordinates, nearly everyone in the Spina di Rasula.
Wait a moment.
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is why you stand accused. We are one big family, all of us who are from Poisson, inextricably linked. And therefore, this fair and honorable court shall declare you guilty, and you shall stay here.
Huh? What? Everything you have said is correct. I have indeed done a lot for my hometown, and I would be willing to be with you all.
Ah, well, if that's what you think, then I have no
How wonderful, Miss Navia!
I know all these people. Why are they laughing?
I seem to remember now.
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Malus?
What was that, Mr. Malus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her now. She's guilty.
Oh, je sais. Elle est coupable. Et normalement, c'était Callas.
Stay here, Navia. You're one of us.
Non?
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you here forever.
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady. Mistress Ronfil, you only know of Navia's goodness, but nothing of her utterly independent mind.
She was born a free and independent spirit. She has never been tied down by anything.
Her actions cannot serve as proof that she identifies herself as part of any... Please do not mistake her actions.
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. This is the... Even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, that doesn't change the fact that her beautiful... Everything is measured here in the nation of Hydro. And in the end, now I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay.
And you would call this justice? Preposterous. You are merely jealous that Demoiselle Have you forgotten how much you all once longed to become individuals?
Do you mean to defy our justice?
If your justice is flawed, then why should we acknowledge it?
As you said, we can also have our own justice. Silver and I shall... And that is how we will inform...
My head...
Demoiselle!
Silver, it hurts. I remember now. Everything that seemed odd, Furina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier. Even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Don't be afraid, and don't admit guilt. We will protect you.
Absurd! Who are you to say that she cannot be judged? We are the majority. Don't let them escape! We shall keep Navia—
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver, must you be so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just. Navia belongs to us. After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
What are you saying?
No more excuses!
She
says we're jealous. Jealous? How could she possibly be an
What's with these people? Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us!
Miss... No...
Silence!
That's... Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The accusations you just presented are nonsense and cannot constitute a proper The court will adjourn for the rest of the day. In this, I shall hear no objections from—
Our thanks, monsieur.
Please leave with me, Miss Navia, while there is—
But...
Go on now, demoiselle. This is your only chance to leave this place.
Malus.
My apologies. I couldn't resist making one little joke once I realized that this...
Malus. Silver.
Quickly, you must—
Goodbye.
Farewell.
No, wait! Just a second!
Navia?
You're awake? Good.
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still alive, and they were...
It looks like you're all right.
Did all the sad feelings cause you to have a nightmare?
The ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When I arrived, I found you falling toward the water. You were just about to be dissolved within, but I think I saw two Oceanids protecting you. It was only for a moment, perhaps even a fraction of a second, but they gave me the chance to retrieve you. Were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able to rescue you before your consciousness dissipated.
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like what happened with Vache?
Perhaps those two Oceanids were the people you saw in your dream.
I always told them that they didn't have to protect me. To think that they'd keep...
Please come with me.
Wow. Ok.
Neuvillette, are you okay?
Oh, I am quite all right. Perhaps...
Why do you look so stiff all of us? Oh, Paimon knows. You're the type who feels awkward when there's nothing to...
I merely thought that we should give Navia some time.
Huh? Why didn't you just say so then? Don't you think it's even more
I suppose so. Ah, Sigewin. I hope all is well with her these days. Her work in the fortress...
No way! Don't worry. She's doing fine down there.
I see. Well, that is good. I have always worried that Sigewin would need a lot of time.
Oh, and the Duke also says hi! Even though Sigewin made him do that. He hopes that you haven't been overwhelmed by all that.
Thank you. I have indeed been busy lately, and I also hope that everything is...
He still doesn't know what to talk about. So, Nouvelle, this isn't going anywhere. Let's try something else.
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson, but when I arrived, I discovered that the Fatui were helping the residents evacuate. Amid my astonishment, I ran into the nave, and we had a chat.
Yeah, we originally planned to meet up with you, but we thought you might still be busy with all those official documents.
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now. I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur Nouvelle?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind my company.
All right! Another one joins the party! Let's get going then!
Ça va encore s'écrouler.
Oh no! Another unstable path! Watch your step!
Mais pourquoi je peux pas m'accrocher? Quoi? Oh mais vas-y. C'est pareil, pareil.
Gotcha. These are about to get dicey.
Whirling snow! Sakura swirl! My guiding stars! Don't be scared. Our bond is strong. Yeah! Take flight! Yeah!
Busted.
Not now. Stars, shine.
My apologies. Embrace the ice.
Ok. Un ascenseur.
Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place? There should not be any other hidden space.
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
C'est la prophétie.
Stone slates. It seems like they were put here as an offering. Could we take...
Perhaps we should just leave them be for now.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that should be in the first empty spot is missing.
The surrounding walls also show signs of damage.
There's something written below. Let Paimon see. Reason dictates that this nation be
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose. But does he mean that Fontaine should be...
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yes. Indeed, the slate's content...
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so dedicated. And there's a whole bunch of other people behind her doing the same.
And is that Lady Furina in the 3rd image? Did the Hydro Archon fall into the water?
And is that a ring of people around her?
The 4th image. I know this one. This exactly matches the
The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain. More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover it. Most likely due to us missing the
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Nouvelle. Deciphering ancient stone slate...
Ooh, Paimon's getting the chills just looking at these slates. This says that it's the history of the future, right? That means the prophecy should...
I really hope it doesn't mean that.
Still, Paimon feels like these images are...
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the 4th, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the 3rd, where the Hydro Archon herself falls into the water?
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Furina only emerges in the 3rd image. That means that the person in the...
Egeria, then. I had never met her, but her appearance here does match the records. The previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies, as if confessing a sin.
Did she herself commit that sin? And if not, also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all. Judging from their contents...
But who would have created these slates and left...
It seems that any further clues will have to come from...
In that case, there's no time to lose. There's nothing...
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Ok. Allons voir Lady Furina.
Let's split up here. I'm going to check on what's happening with the Spina. You know how it is.
You still have energy for that, Navia?
Just head back to the Fleuve Cendre and have a rest then. Thanks for keeping me company.
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work today. Traveler, I will go talk to Furina tomorrow morning. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office.
Are you really gonna talk to her about this direct?
She has long been harboring secrets and will not give them up easily, which makes it all the more
Alright, we'll leave it in your...
I will be carefully considered.
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the Fleuve Cendre is always open to you.
Ok, bon, on va être TP là-bas du coup, j'imagine. Je voulais voir du coup un truc avec ma Furina.
Welcome back. We've got a special menu prepared.
Yay! And there's good food too! Ooh, dessert! Hyman's already starting to forget.
Oh, that voice.
Mona?
Is that who I think it is?
Huh?
It's you two. What are you doing?
On pourrait y poser la même question.
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they...
Still, we didn't expect to see you here.
Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out for a stroll when I bumped... Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Magistus doesn't sound much like a Mondstadter surname? Well, I used to have my own surname, which was... well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took me as her disciple that the first step, there was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now according to her wishes. Nope. Although it is used by us in place of surnames, it generally just means great.
Wow! Imagine including a both.
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take one. Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus.
Whoa, that's a long one. Does it also mean...
My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice as great Scholar of the Stars. Just take it as a
Thrice as great? That's so...
I know, right? That's just how she is. She used to call herself Magistus, actually, but when she took me in, she changed her name to Trismegistus.
Talk about accept...
Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same as a surname. It's all right if you don't get it. You can look into it further should you need to study astrology.
That sounds terrible! But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you, Mona? You're from Mondstadt, right?
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents migrated to Dorman Port, and I traveled with the old hag for a while, after which I settled down in Mondstadt City.
Oh, that's a good thing then. At least we know you...
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened here in... There's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the Steambird invited me to take part in a panel and speak about... The invitation was sent quite early on. I don't think anyone expected Fontaine to be in this much trouble.
What do you make of that prophecy, Mona? Just tell us what you think as an...
What I can tell you is that I'm an astrologist, and that this prophecy concerns the fate of Fontaine, even that of all Tevat. I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. If I could do it, you would no longer call me an astrologist. But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely come from a powerful
visionary? Sounds really powerful and all, but does such a person...
Of course. The old hag could do it, and I bet there are others amongst those Hexenzirkel colleagues of hers who could do something similar. Huh? Are you... All right.
Thanks, Mona. You're amazing.
Oh, well, this is something only I can...
That's the greatest of astrologists for you. Of all the people we know, you know the star's the best.
Indeed. That's the spirit.
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about. If there's anything you need, do not hesitate.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us suspicious looks. Right, but we were able to recruit Mona's help, didn't we? Good morning. To be honest,
moi aussi le bail.
I'm still feeling kind of sleepy.
Enfin, je peux jouer un peu. Non, c'est pas ça. C'est ça. Oh, je crois que j'ai aucune bonne arme pour elle. Fuck. Ouais, j'ai aucune bonne arme. Merde. C'est quelle stat qui up elle? Son taux critique. Ok. Bon. Rendez-vous dans le bureau de nouvelles. Avec Furina, sûrement. C'est reparti pour 1 heure de blabla. Bon, ça va, c'est un peu mieux parce que, contrairement à la forteresse, on reste pas au même endroit.
You're here! Is Monsieur Nouvelle and Lady Furina, they seem to have gotten into a
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Focalor, are you not? Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the...
You mean... they're all...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster, and I will not have it happen again. I will say this once more. You must... Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poist.
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know, but you found them in some ancient ruins, you say?
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 featured The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in...
I don't! I've never seen...
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If any...
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Furina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the sly. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Egeria's secrets, as well as do nothing following your inquiries. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior is very inconsistent.
So you've been watching me... Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually working to take care of it. There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should be just trust in me. You're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this Oh! The opera's about to start.
Did Furina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling.
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh! You noticed! Seems Furina did.
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again. A state of still I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is that we may have to create a situation in which she will have no choice but to
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps we must have the Hydro Archon experience.
But Furina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions.
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but this may be cruel to her. But all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too But who will lend us their aid to do such a thing?
Quelques jours plus tard, sur un bateau dans le calme du village poisson.
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people. That naturally makes it...
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the...
That's what family should do. Sit.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me?
Then, how about you, good...
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful, the spotlight at last.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut as for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot. So, let's invite...
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
In that case, do any of you have experience?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette, oh, right, you were sick.
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the Marechaussee Hunters. Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. They even left a unique methodology of hunting in their wake. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. Sometimes a lethal implement will also be necessary. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now, what would you choose to build it with?
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry.
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the bawling children.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime. I'm quite the multitasker.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the water and waiting for the fish to come within reach.
Calm and steady. Exactly the kind of person.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the... I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the use of any such tricks. But I do have one more question for you, Monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more gentle...
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the contain. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait.
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it. The line that divides life and death is often
So are...
We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kind of...
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god. A being whose seat is an
Oh, so that's what's going on.
Ah, c'est la base dans les égouts. Très bien. Qu'est-ce que j'ai fait? Ok. J'entends du bruit.
So much has been happening. Paimon didn't think the meetings... Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just... it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you doing that at all. What's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea.
Who's that voice?
Aw, have you forgotten me?
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky and...
The voice from the sky, I fear that description is wrong. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friends to... The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled.
C'est une des magiciennes là.
You may view such things as the history of the future.
What?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? So you've come. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods,
could think are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive.
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality. Well, that'll...
The voice. Alright, coming! Hey, it's you who's getting lit.
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively band.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that...
Did she have pink hair by any chance?
Charlotte.
Why, yes, it was Charlotte. I assume you've heard of her, no? That daredevil journalist? I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but how can...
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something
yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. I'll try again tonight, but I wouldn't get your hopes up.
Oh mais merde. J'arrive pas à mettre mon casque correctement.
Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most people would believe the
Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group. But they must really stay in shape.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing must truly be of great...
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to perhaps it is something that you cannot know. Traveler?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. But even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help everyone. If we don't...
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about it. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I suppose that might be why we always seem to...
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. But also kind of... Hey, Traveler! Paimon suddenly feels like going out... Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Ah. Ça à la base doit être pour une quête secondaire ou un événement.
Huh? Our names are written in this newspaper. Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy. But that does not mean that others cannot interact. My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Huh. Guess Charlotte still hasn't given. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report? A blonde adventurer with their white fairy, legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this mysterious traveler once visited the underwater fort. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear, for the tales of the traveler contain surprises in spades. Journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the Traveler's Trail. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us and we never even noticed her. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using us as the subject matter. Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. Those headlines and photos do look cool, so Paimon will forgive her this time.
Dissipate!
Mais elle a toujours faim. C'est pas ici qu'on a rencontré Arlinchino la première fois?
Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go. I'm sure it'll be great.
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all. Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nouvelle.
Wait, did he really say?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me, I love the cake and coffee here.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having some No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today...
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, and you can only lift their... I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon...
Bon bah super.
It's more delicious than last time, and the flavor gets even better. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food.
Les gadgets, c'est ça. Je vais mettre lui, le petit poulpe.
Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh,
ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick mora!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It appears you didn't receive it. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even...
Really?
Well, you're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now, you know.
Oh, Paimon Everyone knows you're now.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden? Were you looking?
A friend of ours met you a while back, and when she mentioned it, we thought of coming to see you.
Ah, so you know Miss Mona as well. She's a guest columnist for our paper. Really good one, too. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real dare.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an
Huh? So your article in the paper today?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is
Yeah, are we even
Gosh.
qualified enough?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course. I'll need a few days to prepare.
Oh, in that case...
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! So much to get done now.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example, Fontaine...
Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear it. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist, first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And secondly, from what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. That sounds a bit sad, but I've always believed that just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would want... And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it... I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But I do love my job. And I'd be proud of leaving. But anyway, that's my answer.
That's so nice. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we?
Ah. Ok. Bon, on y est TP.
The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow. No, Paimon should ask, if you could choose, what would you like to do? We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much... You mean, still traveling? Huh. Feels like it'll grow. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure. It's not only damp there, but salty too.
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia, aren't you?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nouvelle sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the Fortress of Mirapede. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has declared the incident a
riot?
Well, that said, Lady Furina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an intermission, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the... And before she could respond, the crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started to break out.
So people have started to put the blame on Furina.
I agree. People will not...
So what happened after that?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, the Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch Lady Fur...
So, you mean she's still missing?
That's right. The Maréchaussée has dispatched many people to search for her. That said, I don't think there's... Good.
Don't worry.
Is that so?
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Furina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. Instead, and as we also know, she may be loud. When Nouvelle was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about Poisson, It would be hard for her to ignore being a... Paimon thinks Furina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to pull... Huh! Well, what do you think? Paimon, in that case, there's no...
Furina, ça va au village poisson.
This place looks deserted. Could Furina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Ok, mon perso est peut-être mort.
That's Furina, right over there.
Should I just give what was meant to happen did happen after all? I'm sorry. Give up, Furina. I'm sorry, but what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless Who's that?
Don't worry, Furina, it's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another...
Furina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains...
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my enjoyment. They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marsh Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them too.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Furina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just... that's against the rules. I can't let them get...
Furina just ran off! Quick, we have to...
Waouh, quelle course poursuite.
This should be the place, right? Hey, Furina! There's a hiding spot over here! Quick, come to Paimon before the...
What?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine, I suppose. Hey...
Est-ce que tout ça ferait partie du plan? J'imagine.
No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
Yep, that's a good...
What's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flood.
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency...
Yeah, but the people of Poisson, they've... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways too to hold back the sea, but all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been we cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way. Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but also for me to finally, indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost... Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart, but just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of as long as the final moment hasn't come. It's still, don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest just...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you... And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then...
Ok.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the...
So, this is what it is. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice. The embodiment of justice itself. Does it not...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She...
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utter...
Lady Furina, what is the...
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my I will admit that I've been running... I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I too... But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Furina, will use this trial to show the world the true... This time, I... applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're... Why does it feel like Furina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
Alright then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please... Also, please allow me to ask, as a final, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect... The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn... Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would like... So, we arranged for a second group to lie at...
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest...
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Furina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt with it...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is...
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most
Thank you.
As for you, traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived.
Oh?
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her...
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Oh, let Paimon see! Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of every... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. This is the first time Monsieur Nervilette had a different... The Fatui Harbinger. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed. According to Monsieur Nervilette, I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that's the words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably...
On essaiera de se rappeler. Hein.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. There's no need to... Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As, of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the act...
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty.
Charge accepted. Lady Furina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Furina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Furina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be—
Yeah, even though Lady Furina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going—
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There, see? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me it. If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for—
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Furina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, and if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Putain, je resterais bien debout en vrai. Mais bon. Vous me verriez pas. Alors. Bien que Neville exclut Tartaglia innocent.
That doesn't sound right.
Ok. D'accord.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against—
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nouvelle?
Lady Furina, is that—
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have— Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods, for centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider—
Ah, la preuve qu'elle ne contrôle pas l'oratrice, bah ça du coup.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice—
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend.
Lady Furina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstance. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Furina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you instead of having been created by you, the manifest—
The real Hydro Archon. Well, it is true that I did not know why the Oratrice, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And it has been— You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also—
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into indemnity. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy.
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
C'est pas là. Je sais pas me paraît bizarre.
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? The one that, please,
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a—
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our—
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, no—
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't sound—
Non, ça n'irait pas ça.
That doesn't sound right. It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the—
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all—
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing—
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time now. I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Furina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, but if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of it.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many—
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us.
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution, as it falls outside the realm of standard court—
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to—
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina, you may—
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your—
Miss Siegewing, if you're present, Miss—
Siege, don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of...
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Furina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample, and it's a great thing that the direct sample was...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone. Please don't think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be... Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your...
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges.
Ah oui, c'est vrai, ça fait comme le truc d'Onkai.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hyde to be punished via...
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given...
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was all but now. The Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What?
Est-ce que tant qu'on se renseigne sur comment marche ce truc?
Excuse me if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Femine to try and find the missing slate?
Ah, bonjour, Emma. Et Emma de Jade? Comment ça va?
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some, but has the trial already concluded?
Oh, ça va bien, merci.
Then, doesn't that mean I've come too late? Oh no.
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come...
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina, and we've already proven that she's not. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
Venti, Vriosley, Mona, Tignari. Ah, c'est pas mal. Mais ouais, j'ai jamais été trop fan du build de Pity. Quand un perso te plaît, dès qu'il va arriver, t'économises et tu full sur lui. Le build de Pity, ça a jamais été un truc bien. Parce que si t'as de la chance avec 32 Pity, tu peux avoir un perso. Si t'en as de moins, bah... tu peux louper le perso que tu veux.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids... The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro... The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question.
Donc là, je dois... voyons.
know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontanians can be dissolved in primordial seawater. And the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve.
Bon après en vrai ça va, Friosley a l'air vraiment pas mal aussi. Donc là...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, has recorded on the stone slates.
Ok.
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subject. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that...
Donc là c'est... Furina seule en gros. Là c'est ça. Non?
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an ocean. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! But then it feels like... we're going to have...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with the evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were all... Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by... That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that...
The Hydro Archon's true sin? What?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the... Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a... Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro... In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become... However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority, not one to give in. She eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first...
So we were all...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the 3rd and 4th stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact. A key point of the visual on the 3rd slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold it. Therefore, the meaning of the 3rd slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the 4th slate will also...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your about the 4th slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophet... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could... As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
Ça c'est bon, ça c'est bon, ça c'est bon, ça c'est pas bon.
It was both dream and real.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside.
The truth, the original sin, the trial.
Ok.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you...
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an... That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the...
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
That's not... We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last...
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance...
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be
No matter
fulfilled
what.
no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such... Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives, ultimately, fate.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Furina! No, I still need answers.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is...
You are not Furina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign...
Fusolo. Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather... I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Allow the prophecy to be... I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, but one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose...
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Furina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess. But in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always want. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone weep in order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled. I invited Furina to be an actress, to play under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Furina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to...
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, it's been 500, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and
Furina?
Oh, who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, I understand your admiration for... All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must at all...
Okay.
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards! Take flight. Gotcha. My apologies.
The night is cold.
Dissipate. I'll settle this.
Stars shine.
Take flight.
Ok. Elle a pas assez longs cheveux.
Furina,
here.
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me?
Mirror you.
Mirror me.
The prophecy.
What prophecy? Wait. The people will all be dissolved into the waters. And
oh.
What's going on?
Yes, it will. And
but doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. I will tell you how to save everyone, but...
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, as for the suffering, well, I will it, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side...
You true. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its hydro...
Play as...
That's right. You must begin a never-ending... If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying...
But how will I do that?
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you remember. Your...
I'm still not sure. So, how long?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, but I promise you...
A trial, huh?
Oui. Et là, elle a ses longs cheveux. C'est quoi que là sous les chaussures? Le signe de fontaine, non? Je sais pas.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? Ladies, and I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken up. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall once again thank you all for coming. This should do it.
Un peu comme Shogun Raiden et Ei, par contre. Il y a Furina et Focalor.
Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might...
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of... Right. Me said that I just need to play the... Calm down, Furina. Think. What? Assertive. With a strong sense of presence. One who... Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this... Well, it seems that you would all see... You may consider my previous... Now then, let us be...
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an...
Her personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith
faith in your we have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be the scales of justice should not weigh. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want. There is no trouble in the... So long as I, the Archon Focalor...
Me dites pas qu'il va y avoir 15 actes non plus. À l'opéra. Furina.
Lady Furina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for...
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Besides, none of these trials were the one that...
if I may be so impertinent, what kind of...
A magnificent, dramatic, and what...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do you...
Lady Furina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for...
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood... All right. Deuteria, is it?
He is doing my... You're such a gentle and wise...
Lady Furina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked...
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect all manner of signs.
Well, as I understand it, the fall...
Really? Have they found...
I'm afraid that they...
Is that... The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine.
Mais il y a combien d'actes, sérieux, putain. Oh.
Lady Furina, here are the new trial reports for the...
There'll be no need.
Lady Furina, I've...
Indeed, my dear loyal...
Lady Furina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should... I feel utterly exhausted.
Mais non, mais vous allez pas remettre 50 fois la même chose. Si. Acte 182 375.
It's like a dream. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an...
What is it?
Are you crying?
Uh-huh. Really now? I didn't even know.
C'est là qu'elle a commencé à perdre la raison.
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon,
Wow.
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. But I never imagined that it would hurt. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell someone, anyone, about that I've conducted, so all I can do is keep heart.
Furina et...
Furina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more than willing to share your...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fate.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be just share it with me.
Witness. And if Tevat is in... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people... No, Furina. You should... But what if... Furina, you've worked so hard for... Is it such an outrageous thing to do? If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Furina, the Archon of Fontaine. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until...
Fine.
So even Furina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, she did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, it seems that trusting humanity...
I believe that I understand how your deception works. But that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed... I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the... It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes. Alas, your understanding of this device... In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnity, but really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be.
It was all part of your plan then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, but only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne. shaking the rules.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Furina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet. Oh, what? Getting the authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragon. I, for my part, am the god of justice. Speaking of justice, I have always believed that so, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontanians as humans, and in other words, existence was Egeria's justice. And to me, justice is the defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. At this point, we, Iudex Nouvelle, the highest judge in our land,
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, at last, I now understand the true purpose behind. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual You are a devious one for things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nouvelle. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Iudex nouvelle, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Okay. Whoa.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a few.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be—
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast, come with me, traveler. The hour of execution.
J'espère que ça va pas durer trop longtemps. Je vais manquer de temps, moi.
Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Je sais pas ce que je dois faire. Hein.
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility. The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. A chance will present itself.
Take flight!
Whirling snow!
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Kamisato art! Sometsu! My apologies!
Quietly now.
Cole, mine's a
Yeah! Whirling snow!
Busted.
My apologies! Out of my way!
Not now!
Here comes the catch.
Comment pas?
Whirling snow! Sakura swirl!
On dirait Jigglyou. Pardon?
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but it was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3 million times as penance.
That power.
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its look. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed
The point being...
Well, being that this pet almost... So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master. Wait, is that right?
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sertologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with...
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous. How should I...
The fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the visionary? Vetterfulnir then?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't quite catch their name.
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in—
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Furina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
Le bateau de Gosselin.
All hands, initiate emergency rescue. Hurry! Hey, lend a hand.
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
Ok. Ils ont quand même été inondés. Hein. Un petit peu. Mais c'était pas de l'eau de la mer primordiale.
The soil renewed. The Sweena attacks post-disaster rebuilding. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing Skyship Winglet, lunar brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have people always call the first researcher Mab. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Juria and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With a disaster, the value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home.
Paimon's curious too!
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me.
Are you sure? Hasn't he turned you down some—
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to Poisson first.
Bon, je vais pas pouvoir continuer. Il va falloir que j'arrête. Tac. Du coup, c'était cool. C'était vraiment très très bien. Je fais un peu d'Explore Stream pour up Furina du coup. Puis du coup, on se retrouvera pour la fin. Et puis la découverte du reste. Je sais pas quand. Bref. Suivez-moi sur Twitter déjà pour être averti. Et sur YouTube pour avoir toutes les rediffusions. Tout y est. Le League of Legends arrive bientôt. C'est pas beau à voir. Oh, j'ai 5. Ah oui, d'accord, c'est les drops. Bon, et sur ce, je vous laisse. Je suis désolé, je pars un peu vite. Mais j'ai plus le temps. Voilà. Allez, ciao, ciao.